All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block M Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network. Podcast that loves a good draft. A draft beer, the Vietnam era draft, a door left slightly ajar as to let in a draft. This is a draft pod tonight, baby. I am Jared Stormer of the Block M Podcast Network and MaizeandBrew.com. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate, also of MaizeandBrew.com. Brother, if it's a Thursday night, a Friday night, and you're a bud heavy, you're having nightmares about seeing this guy and what atrocities he might commit this weekend. It's Andy Bailey, folks.
Yes, it is here. Happy to be here. Been thinking about this one for a long time, my friend. My single favorite podcast of the year. I can't wait to get into this tonight.
Dangerous night to be a can. We are here for it. This is the 8th annual spring game draft. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled, elated to bring to you the 8th annual Out of the Blue spring game draft. An event with more grace and history than the Masters, more pomp and circumstance than the Academy Awards. Fathers across the country will pull their firstborn sons up onto their lap, gaze fiercely but lovingly into their eyes, and tell them the importance of this event. We do it every year. It is the seminal moment for discussing the roster. Everything after this is post-spring game draft. Everything before was pre-spring game draft. But right now, all that matters, mano y mano, you versus me. Let's figure out who knows this team best, my friend.
So for those who are joining us for the first time, keeping with a time-honored tradition really brought in by Jim Harbaugh, Jared and I are dividing up the roster and drafting up our own teams. So we'll each have, I believe, 24 players apiece, a full offense, a full defense, and the only additions will be you'll have 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and a pair of tight ends.
Worth noting as well, in years past, sometimes we do all-time quarterback because they really could swing it too much when you have a J.J. McCarthy. We didn't do it last year, and we will not be doing it this year. Quarterbacks are back on the menu, boys.
Quarterbacks are on the board. It's a big one. Also, a very important draft rule is you can't go to the same defensive grouping twice. So that means, position grouping twice. You can't go to the secondary twice. You can't go to the offensive line with back-to-back picks or the defensive line. You got to spread it around because having runs and stuff, it just makes the conversation a little more just muted and homogenous. And we want to have some fun here and really mix it up.
100%. I think that's pretty much it for the rules. Would you like to roll dice to determine who gets first pick, sir?
Let's do it. Let's roll them.
I have in front of me a dice. We usually do a coin. We are mixing it up this year. All right, sir. Would you like highs or lows? Lows 1, 2, 3. Highs 4, 5, 6.
Give me lows because I am number 1.
All right. It is low. It is a 2. You've taken it from me. It is your pick at the top of the board. Before we get into this, though, I wanted to ask you, what position group are you most excited to discuss? Like you and I don't talk about this stuff until this game. Like we actively avoid even like when we're just texting, talking too much about the position groups. So we finally get to have this discussion amongst ourselves. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
The defense. Excited for the defense, pretty much the entire defense. And also, we should note one last rule. Every player is eligible. Whether they are injured, whether they're not going to be on the team until the fall, every player is eligible. We've limited ourselves in the past, but why limit the fun? Why put a cap on it? Why be a fun song? Let's have a good time here. So every player is eligible, injured, not on the team till later. So keep that in mind. Actually, I didn't want the first pick this year.
No kidding. Interesting. It's a little weird this year because there can be some gamesmanship, but hey, I'll take it from you.
I think I'm still going to keep it. Okay, so with the first pick in the 2025 Michigan Spring Draft, I'm going to take Rayshon Benny on the defensive line.
A surprise right out of the gate. Benny looks like you were on the wrong side of the ball. So long as he keeps his pad level low, he's immune. Great pick. Tell me about it. Why Benny here, number 1 overall?
I want to build my team through the trenches. I want to do it the right way. I think there's a good chance that Benny was the first pick in the actual spring draft in the Michigan coaches room. Last year, the number one pick was Mason Graham. 2 years ago, Kenneth Grant. Going back a few years, Rashawn Gary. They really like to get the guy on the inside. I think Benny is going to have that type of season this year. I think it's going to be a big step forward year. I like everything I saw in the final 2 games. I just think he's an ascending player, and I'm just really bullish on his potential, and he plays at a high position of value.
Yeah, particularly on this team, which is running that multiple Baltimore Ravens defense, which requires an elite defensive tackle. He is going to be a huge part of what they're doing this year. Rocking the 55, vacated by one Mason Graham. I tend to think that means something. I tend to think like he knows what the expectations are. Is this the best bet for Michigan having a first-round draft pick next year?
That's a tremendous question. I think it is because of the combination of position and skill set. There's other players on this roster that are high level, All-American caliber, but I just don't know if they play at the position that'll be selected that high.
Okay. All right. Strong start. He's going up front on the lines, which makes sense. Knowing you, it makes sense that you would go straight to the trenches here. I don't think you're ready for this, though. It is my pick. Pick number 2 coming at you. I think that was a surprise, but get ready for this one with the second overall pick in the 2025 spring game draft. Give me Bryce Underwood, the Undertaker.
That's why I wanted to. That's why
Give me the Undertaker. Let's go. I thought you were going to take him first. I really did. Or Rod Moore. I did not see Benny going first. I did not see that. So you kind of caught me off guard.
Tremendous pick here. I love the strategy too, because if you hit, you're going to hit massive.
I'm taking the biggest swing I possibly can. I'm trying to win this one, and this will probably decide it. So like it takes a little bit of the fun away, but not really. I think it's still quite fun because he'll either win the job this year or he won't. If he doesn't, maybe we'll look back on it differently because he'll win it next year. I'm very confident this is a good football player. We've done 2 breakdowns on him now at this point. Please, I encourage you to go back and check those out. Maybe we'll repost those where we've gone really in depth on this player. And I'm about as in as you can be on a quarterback prospect. It's an imperfect science evaluating quarterbacks, but this is damn close to a perfect prospect. So if it's not happening this year, it's going to happen eventually. You will see him this year. And Mikey Keene currently not practicing. I think we're going to see a lot of Underwood in the spring game.
Yeah, it's Underwood and Jaden Davis are the only quarterbacks right now practicing in the spring. So that's something to keep an eye on. I would like Michigan to add a veteran quarterback in the portal. Like
maybe if Keene can't go, they need to. That was our guy.
A Bowman level type of guy. Like you want a replacement level type of player just to have as a reserve with the health factors coming in. Okay, coming back to me. Give me Rod Moore and give me Rod Moore at nickel.
Love it. Tremendous pick. Knew I wasn't going to get him if I took Underwood there. That's just the way that it works. Look, you don't get the name God Moore by sucking at football. It's not just a fun nickname.
He is the other preseason All-American, presumptively pretty much from every site you can find, along with kicker Dominic Zavada, who will not be drafted because we're not going to draft kickers in this thing. Expecting a big season from him. I'm getting more excited as the reports come out that he's getting healthy, kind of a return to form, because a month ago you and I were getting a little nervous about our boy.
Yeah, absolutely. There was that report that came out that they were like discouraged, and that's just not something you want to hear. But since then, the reports are trending in the right direction. So a full season of Rod Moore. You've got the 2 most veteran, proven players on the defense to start right out of the gate. I'm sure you feel good about that. Forcing my hand to go to the defense here, which I will happily do, and I will happily take Ernest Hausman, the green dot. 89 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks last year. I saw this man go dig a well in Africa, and he actually rotated the earth himself. I don't think he actually removed the dirt. He just moved heaven and earth because that's the kind of linebacker he is. Last year, I took Barham in this spot. I think Hausman is better than Barham. The stats back it up.
It's good to have you on the side now. I've been lonely on this side of the thing. I'm excited to have you because I was fully expecting to have the conversation of potential versus production. Because I think Barham has the higher ceiling and the potential. But Hausman last year had more tackles, more TFLs, more sacks, and more interceptions. And he, I believe Brian Jean Mary came out today and said he is the leader on defense right now. Like with Rod out, he's the guy controlling everything. Tremendous pick here, man. I love everything about Houseman, buying all the Houseman stock I can.
As am I. And with you taking like the other two leaders on this defense, I can't let you run away with just all the senior leadership here. So Houseman will be a huge, huge part of this. I predict leading tackler this season.
I think so as well. Okay, coming back to me, I'm going to go to the offensive side of the football, and I'm going to take running back Jordan Marshall.
I was hoping I could get him. Was hoping I could get one more and get him. I knew you wanted him, and I was hoping to ruin your day, but
perhaps my favorite offensive player on this team. I think he's going to have a massive season this year. New offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey really likes to get the running backs involved in the passing game. So I think you're going to see not just Marshall, all the running backs benefit from that added element to the attack. And it's really going to help the quarterback a lot.
This is a really good pick. I think he'll be the featured back. I do think there is another back we're going to see quite a bit of. And additionally, like, you know, it's a long slate and Big Ten football. Let's see how much weight Jordan Marshall's put on, because that was the one concern watching him in that ReliaQuest Bowl. It's like, oh, he doesn't have his grown man strength yet. Like once he gets it, he'll be able to kind of weather the beating that comes with a Big Ten schedule a little more. But I mean, props to him. He just kept going against like the Alabama starters. And like just kept taking hits and taking hits. So if he's put on 15 pounds, I don't think it's unreasonable to predict over 1,000-yard season from Jordan Marshall, provided our offensive line's a little better. And interestingly, no one's on the offensive line's gone yet. So maybe that tells you a little bit about how we're feeling there in that conversation. All right, coming back to me, a lot of ways I could go here. I think what I will do is go on the defensive line. And I will take Derek Moore, who I think will be the premier pass rusher. There's another guy I really like. 23 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Look, they test new parking barricades on Derek Moore, because if you can stop Derek Moore, you can damn well stop an Oldsmobile. This guy is James Pierce-esque with just like the way he's built. I don't know anything about the character stuff. Derek Moore seems like a fine man. I think that like it's all going to come together for Derek Moore this season. I really do. I think the combination of size, speed, versatility, he's been in this system for a while now. He can rush the passer from a couple different areas if he wanted to. You can get weird with him. Primarily going to be lined up out on the edge, where I think he'll dominate Big Ten competition. I'm predicting 10-sack season.
It's interesting you went with Houseman over Barham for the production over potential, but you go Moore over TJ Guy when Guy outproduced him last year in less snaps.
Yes, thought deeply about that. And I'm mixing it up with my strategy here. It's not going to be all the way uniform across the board here. There's certain guys where, I don't know, I just watched a lot of Derek Moore, and I still believe it. And yeah, I think him and TJ Guy are going to form a pretty potent duo, but I'm taking Moore to slightly outproduce him.
Okay. I like the reasoning behind that. Give me Jayshon Barham right here.
Yep. Makes sense.
Got to come back now. There was a pick in between. I just can't let you take both starting linebackers.
No, exactly. That's all that is right there. And not like I'm down on Barham. I think he's still like that potential thing. He still has it too. And I'm going to feel real stupid if this is the year he puts together and has 8.5 sacks.
Oh yes. I mean, especially with the potential we've been hearing about edge. Like that's the perhaps the biggest defensive wild card here. Like if he's playing snaps at edge and linebacker and producing and like double digit like tackles for loss and threatening 10 sacks, it's going to be a big swing here.
Absolutely, man. Good pick. All right, I'm going with what I have as the biggest drop on the board, because I don't know who the second one is. Give me Greg Crippen. Crippen minutes here at center. Do not know who's behind him. I think I have an idea who it might be, but this is sparse. We kept waiting and waiting for the center transfer to come in. It has not come in, and because of that, I'm taking Crippen higher than I'd like to. I'm still high on him. I still think he could have a good season, but I would put him below Nugent. I would put him below like any of the guys at Ruiz. I would put him probably a little bit closer to Vastardis level. I think he could get to Vastardis level this year, but there's just a huge drop off. So I'm taking Crippen.
This is a really good pick, and I think you're betting on the fact that he played his best 2 football games in the last 2 games we saw him in. He was outstanding in those games for like where he had been that year, as were a couple offensive linemen. So I like the ascension from him, and I really think like that's the right trajectory, a 2021 type of Andrew Vastardis rise.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. I think we're in great shape if we have that kind of rise. So, yeah, if he just plays as well as he did in those last 2 games, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. But as we've said on this podcast multiple times, a theory we're kind of trying out here: as the center goes, so goes this offensive line.
Exactly. Coming back to me, give me TJ Guy on the edge.
Has to be it. You couldn't let me get them both.
Couldn't let you get them both. TJ Guy was my number 1 rated edge in this class. I think it's very close.
It's for what it's worth. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really 1A, 1B. And I just think this year as a starter, I think he's a likely team captain from all indications. And he really just, in his capacity last year, he just dominated. Like I said, outproduced Eric Moore despite being a backup technically, and played really well in the ReliaQuest ball. I think he's just getting better, and I think he's going to be the top edge rusher this year.
Yeah, 32 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. Like we said, very close with Derek Moore. Look, there was a time when we were collecting rainwater on Guy Island early on. We have nuclear capabilities. We've got a Navy out there. We are living the life on Guy Island. So I'm happy for you. I'm happy you got him there. One of us was going to get him, and this might be the swing. Derek Moore, TJ Guy, who outproduces, but I think it's a 1A, 1B situation more so than it's a big drop. So good pick by you. All right, coming back to me, I'm going to go with another drop. Give me Jair Hill. I am a believer. I think there is a slight drop as far as just pure boundary corner. He will be my boundary corner here, and I think he's the best on the team. Hopefully, so long as he doesn't come out wearing like the number 37 or something and be like, oh no, what'd Jair Hill do? So long as he comes out in a normal number, I think he will be our best cornerback. A little bit more DJ Turner, Ambry Thomas than Will Johnson, Jordan Lewis. So not as much my style of player, but I think like if you're targeting him a lot, he's good enough in man-to-man. He's pretty athletic. So I like that. But I think he showed a willingness to tackle. He had 6 tackles for loss last year. That's from a boundary corner. That's noteworthy to me. So if he plays a whole season healthy, engaged, staying out of trouble with that athleticism and that talent, I think Jair Hill will be the best cornerback on this team.
Okay, good. This is another place where we differ. I have some other guys. Don't want to give it all away here.
I know who it is.
But again, it's splitting hairs. Like there's a lot here to like in Jair's game. I think I was really impressed the way he closed the season in the ReliaQuest Bowl, because that was post like being punished, losing the number, losing your starting spot for the biggest game of the year. And he came back and played awesome against Ryan Williams. That showed the depth of character. So really happy to see that. He has all the talent in the world. I'd like to see him put on about 10 pounds. Like he's pretty slight out there. And I loved Wink Martindale's interview this offseason talking about Jair Hill's development and his early season struggles last year. He said, how do you overcome it? I said, well, he was struggling with double moves. So we gave him a double move damn near every play in practice until he learned not to jump over it. It's like,
that'll do.
Simple, that'll do. And it paid off. So I like this. This has been your boy for a long time. So I'm kind of glad you got him here.
Yeah. Probably drafted him a little higher than I needed to, especially based on the fact that it's not a huge drop again. But there's a couple guys I wanted, and Hill and Moore too, that I want on my team, and I want to see these bets pay off.
You want your guys, like at the end of the day.
My guys, yeah.
It's similar to like a fantasy football draft. Like you want to get the players, your guys here. That's one of the most important things. All right, going to me. I need to address someone on the offensive line. I'm going to go with starting left tackle Evan Link. Like he's locked into left tackle pretty much. He hasn't even been repping at right tackle. He's repped at 4 positions, not even right tackle, because it is so out of character for him apparently. Like that's how like he was playing 5 positions out of position last year, and then got better throughout the year and held up against Ohio State. We saw some of like the work against Alabama, what he did in that game, and he is a locked in starter on this team, a bookend tackle.
We differ again. I love it. I think we've never differed more. I have 2 players higher on my board on the offensive line than Evan Link, but he will be starting one of those tackle positions, guaranteed. So you're getting a starter.
I had to go with one of the tackles, and I'm going to go with the guy protecting the blind side.
Yep. I got you there. Good pick. All right. I know where I'm going here. Another place. I'm fascinated to have this discussion. You are way more confident in this position group than I am currently. I'm very confident in some of the run blockers, but I am not as confident in the pass catchers. So give me Hogan Hansen. I think I have written down in my notes, arguably one of the most important players for 2025. He has to hit.
You bastard.
I knew you'd be mad.
You took my boy.
Damn it, Johnny.
You took my boy. You know I love him. Yeah, man. I think Hogan Hansen's going to be a flat-out star here. I'm very confident in the ability and things I've seen from a young tight end last year. I think it's going to translate. I think he's going to take a massive step forward. I think it's one of the best kept secrets on the team right now.
It has to be, man, because if he's not, it's Marlon Klein, Zach Marshall, and Max Bredesen, who, I mean, there's some names in there I like, but as a pass catcher, I don't know.
There's another one in there now that's been making the rounds the last 2 weeks.
So interesting. Okay. All right.
Might see another
your
one.
Secrets, sir.
Might see another one selected. Okay, I'm still chasing a little bit here. I'm going to take Zeke Berry in the secondary, and I'm going to play him at corner. Actually, yeah, I'm going to play him at corner.
Couldn't let me go back to back there because if I have both of those guys, I think then there's the drop.
It gets we get a little bit of trouble there. I think Zeke Berry's a better quarter than Jair Hill. And I'm not taking that off my opinion. I'm taking that off Vance Bedford, Michigan's former defensive coordinator in the 90s. That's what he thought when he moved out there. And it happened too. He moved out there after being so bad at nickel. And then that gave him his confidence. And then when he moved back in to play nickel against Alabama, he had his confidence back. And he just looks like one of the most important pieces in the secondary because he has that malleability and he has all that starting experience at two different positions.
One of my biggest swings here. He has 2 interceptions, 9 passes defended last year, primarily coming out at corner, as you mentioned, where he was just a different player. Reinvigorated him and loved what I saw. Absolutely loved him. With his physicality too, you can kind of move him around more chess piece-ish. So I'll be very interested to see, like, does this guy have more tackles for losses this year? Is he coming on more blitzes? What more is he capable of being more productive in the run game? So I love this pick. Couldn't let me get both of them. I think it's a 1A, 1B type of scenario, but hard for me to argue with Bedford's reasoning there. I don't think that I have the bandwidth nor the capability to do so.
You just need that Nico confidence. Like, you know what? He's wrong. That's I'm right.
Well, who knows? We'll see what happens. Yep. But I love Zeke Berry. Absolutely love him. I love these 2 corners, truth be told. Like, this is a room that I'm feeling really good about. And, maybe you would say we don't have reason to feel that good about it, but I think Hill Berry is nice. I like that.
I do too. And there's other guys we're going to talk about in this room as well. And from all reports coming out of camp, it's a lot of versatility, a lot of positionless secondary. And I love that.
As do I. All right. So where are we at here? Your last pick. Where can't you go? You just went Zeke Berry before that offensive line. I'm going to get back on the line. I'm going to take Andrew Sprague. We have to figure out if it's Sprague or Sprague. We've got to figure
it's Sprague.
Sprague. There you go. That makes more sense. Give me Sprague. Look, thing about Sprague is he started, how many snaps was it? 67 snaps for Bama. He's 6'8", 305 as a freshman. If that guy comes in at 320 this year, I'm pretty in, man. He looked good against those Bama first teamers. I'm willing to buy in. You kind of have to. I'm taking the other shot here at the tackle. I can't let you get both of them. But I think this dude's got the juice. I really do. I'm buying in.
He is. I mean, not as locked in as Link is to left, but it's damn close to right. That's where he's going to be this year against Alabama. Played out of position, both guys did. So it's going to be really fascinating to see how he holds up on the other end. I really like what he's going, like what he brings to the table in this situation. Like you talk about the size, getting that experience in a high level situation, and holding off some of the young guys coming up on the roster. Like there's a lot of people in this room pushing him and pushing Evan Link, but both these guys have seemed more than up to the challenge. Like this was probably going to be my next pick if you hadn't gone there.
Yeah, exactly. I figured you'd probably try and double up there, which is what I would try and do. So I know your game, sir. This is not our first roundabout. Let's run through what we've got real quick, and then we're going to take a quick break and come back and keep it pushing. So as of right now, first overall pick, Rayshon Benny. Then it goes Bryce Underwood to me at number 2. You went with Rod Moore in your second overall pick. I followed up with Ernest Hausman. You countered with Jordan Marshall. I went with Derek Moore. And then it was Jayshawn Barham for you. Crippen for me. Back to you. TJ Guy on the defensive line. I went with Jair Hill to break into the secondary. Then you went back to the offensive line for the first time, grabbing Evan Link. I followed up with presumed starter Hogan Hansen at tight end. And then Zeke Berry to counter my Jair Hill pick. And I went with Sprague on the offensive line. That's where we stand right now. Let's take a quick break when we come back. It's just more of this, baby. This is all we got. All right, we are back. We are righteous men. The spring game draft is very good. We're off to a great start here. Andy, it is your pick. Your last pick was Zeke Berry. My last pick before the break was tackle Andrew Sprague.
All right, so coming back to me, also for listeners, I'm Merrick Kumba is in the transfer portal. Joined while we were drafting, so glad none of us picked him. Have to kind of relitigate
a wild pick.
Relitigate that on the fly. All right, so I'm looking here at my board and a team shaping up. You got Hogan Hansen, an offensive weapon, so I'm going to add an offensive weapon. Give me Justice Haynes at running back.
You villain. You were doing that just to knife me. You don't want both of them.
I do.
Play this game?
No, I do. It's not just because of you. I want both of them because, like, when you look at players that are going to contribute on offense, it's like, who do you know is going to contribute on offense a lot? The running back position. And both of these guys want to be using that 1A, 1B type of way. You took the most obvious pass catcher. So it's like, I could drop down, I could take a swing on some guy, or I could go with the running back here and double up where I know he's going to get carries and I know he's going to have an impact.
Well, you forced my hand. I'm taking Donovan McCulley.
Okay. That's good.
That forced my hand. Like, yeah. I have to have the best two pass catchers then and the quarterback in order to counter what you've done here with definitely the running attack for the Michigan Wolverines. In 2025, you have such a high percentage of our rushing yards. Oh,
and it could be receiving because of the way they're going to be used out of the backfield.
Yeah, very well could be. I'm interested to see what either of these guys bring as pass catchers out of the back. Obviously Marshall, just a freshman last year, so we didn't see a lot of it. But Haynes
has done some. He did some at Alabama against us in the Rose Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. All right, so McCulley to me, Haynes to you. You knifed me in the back. I have Haynes quite a bit lower than some of these other guys still here. But I like him. I like him a lot, man. There was a real debate a couple weeks ago between you and I about who would start. I think we both kind of squash that and move into Jordan Marshall as the starting running back here territory. But yeah, I like Haynes a lot.
Well, I like the McCulley was my top receiver on the board. I mean, Ron Bellamy predicted him this week to be the next great receiver. Again, spring talk is what it is, but like he would have been my top selection there as well if I was going to the wide receivers.
Yeah, I have him pretty firmly, and then there's a gap for my next one. So I actually was going to grab him quite a bit earlier, but I was like, I don't know how good he'll be. Is this guy like, how much are we even passing this year? Is a big season for him 600 yards receiving, or is it much, much more? I have no idea.
Yeah, so that's going to be fascinating to watch. Coming back to me, I'm going to take Brady Norton on the offensive line.
Interesting. Okay, why Norton over Hattar?
Because Brady Norton was compared to John Runyon and Mason Cole last week in practice.
That'll do.
That'll do. So I'm going to take him. I mean, he can play up and down the line of scrimmage. I'm probably going to just take him at guard here.
Okay. Good stuff. I'm going to go back on the defensive line, and I'm going to take Cam Brandt to put opposite Derek Moore. Give me a little bit more production there. So now adding 3 sacks, couple more tackles for loss. Great rotational piece there. Guy that I know is going to contribute this year.
He is so clearly pass rusher 3. I mean, it's been spoken about ad nauseum from Lou Esposito and several other people inside the building. Esposito said he's just like a starter. So it's good value here. It was the logical next one to come off the board. Okay, coming back to me, I just went on the offensive line. I am going to take... I'm going to go to the secondary, and I'm going to take Mason Curtis at safety.
Oh, hi. I didn't think you were this high on Curtis. Well, now we get to have the discussion, so I'm here for it. Give me your Mason Curtis thoughts. This is a player that I'm fascinated by.
I think he is just going to be an absolute chess piece on the field, like very much in the Kyle Hamilton type of mold. He's been repping at nickel. He can do a little bit of everything. He has the range, the athleticism, the way he got on the field as a freshman in the secondary. You don't see that. Like the most recent freshmen we've seen on the field, in the secondary are Will Johnson and Rod Moore. So coming from a nice lineage there, I'm betting on that. He has all the measurables you want. He has the high IQ. I think it's going to be a big season for him in the secondary.
I'm fascinated by this guy. This guy could move to linebacker and become like an Alex Anzalone type, something
Yeah.
we've discussed, like would be put on 20 pounds. And brother, you are a real weapon out there. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen this year or next year for him, but I just love Mason Curtis. Fascinated by this player. This is a great pick. I thought I'd be able to get him a little bit later, but seemingly we are both high on Mason Curtis.
Yes, dude. Stud. And there's definitely some 1A, 1B discussions with him and a few others back here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I am going to go back on the offensive line, and I'm going to grab GOL Hottie, kind of the gladiator two of players. Had higher expectations last year and kind of fell flat. But moving sides on the line, I'm believing in like the strength, the time in the program, time on task. This is the end of your story, man. Like, what are you going to be? I think he could be an all Big Ten type of guard. I still believe in that talent that you and I saw. And I think it's in there. He's just got to get the mentals right and have like a full consistent season. So I like GOL Hottie at guard.
Yeah, man, I'm really concerned about him. I think there's a chance he could lose his starting position this year. There's been some other guys that have gotten the discussion that there's a tight race at the guard positions right now. And one player they had to talk out of the transfer portal to stay, I think could be the one to push him here, but he is kicking back to his more natural position on the left side. He was not good at right last year. So, but at the left side, what you're banking on here is where we saw like just how dominant he was, because at the very least on the left side, he was a people pusher. And that is an excellent thing to have with a team that runs the ball so much.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm still going to buy into him. There's like young guys that are pushing. And that's been my philosophy in a lot of past years, but I do think he's going to end up. I just have to imagine that the time on task wins out. So it could be another swing one there. Let's see what happens with GOL Hottie. He's probably be in the transfer portal by the time this goes up.
I know. He's just going to be gone. Okay, coming back to me. Hopefully these players aren't entering the portal as we speak. I am going to take I need to do it. It's like an extra offensive lineman. He's going to be a 2-time team captain, and that's a short list. One of my favorite players on the team. It's number 44. It's Max Bredesen at tight end.
Almost took him right there. Thought about it.
What more needs to be said? This guy is Michigan. He is the heartbeat of this team. He sets the tone. If I'm going to run the football with 2 running backs, I might as well need the lead guy in front of him blocking the way.
Good pick. Yeah, he will play a lot. As far as like snaps played, this guy's going to be on the field. There's no question about it. All right, coming back to me. What do I want to do here? Give me Brandon Hillman in the secondary. Another guy I'm really high on. Look, he took out 2 receivers in a game like a damn hitman. That's good enough for me.
You're selling him short. He took out a receiver and a running back.
It was unbelievable against Indiana. I've never seen more violent collisions. And look, we certainly don't root for injuries, but I do like a good hard hit, and Brandon Hillman can bring that. Man, him and Mason Curtis, like 2 players I was really looking forward to discussing. And I couldn't let you have both of them because, like, I think these dudes could be the next iteration of like not only fun players, but like really, really impactful players. I'm high on Hillman, Curtis. I'm high on Barry. I'm high on Hill. Like, I really like this secondary. There's depth there.
Well, there's a good chance we've already drafted the starting secondary.
Probably.
With all the 5 players that have come off the board, including Rod Moore there. So when I was deciding whether Mason Curtis to draft him last, it was with Brandon Hillman. Like, those are the players I was deciding between. And again, I think it's a coin flip at this point. It's kind of just pick your flavor, because Hillman brings those hard hits that can change games, kind of like an Ernest Shazer in the back. But the coverage skills have improved, or at least reported to improve, and that's where he needs to take the next step. And man, tremendous athlete, and just plays the game with a violence that is so rare nowadays.
Yeah, man. My kind of player, my kind of guy.
Okay, I can't let you do it to me. I'm going to take Andy Babs, right tackle.
Good pick. I don't think this year, but good pick eventually.
Yeah, I just can't let you take Andrew Babalola. And then I'm like, well, Blake Frazier, had some moments, when he wasn't injured last year.
Yeah, interesting. So you're a little bit lower on Hattar. I hadn't heard much coming out of spring on him, but I mean,
he's not there yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we're still making eligible for this draft if we want.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
He's still eligible for the draft, but like just coming up, like I haven't.
Yeah, you're right. So it's an unknown for sure. Okay. All right. Good pick. I like where it's there. Still a lot of talent left on the board. Where do I want to go? I guess there's no point in taking a running back because you're full there.
All set.
Yeah, you're all set there. All right, I could go. Oh, you know what? Okay, could do that. A little bit of a drop there. All right, you know what? I'm gonna do it to you. Give me some Maj Morgan. I have to make up for the fact that you
can have him. You can have him.
Not buying, huh? Not buying the Samaj Morgan redemption tour.
Nope. Not buying it at all, man. You go ahead and have him. I don't want James spelled backwards. I've sold all of my stock. You can have it. God's
not a penny left.
Nope.
Not a penny left.
It's gone. Maybe there's a fraction. Maybe there's a couple penny stocks. Done. I am done.
I'm buying it at pennies.
You can
hoping that he's wide receiver number 2.
You can have it, my friend. That is all you. But again, if you're making I'll let you do it. Make the case for.
The case for it'll either be the greatest redemption story of all time, or it's just going to be a massive flame out, and he is worse than Kakoa Crawford. I mean, we will enter Luigi Villain territory if it doesn't happen this year. And I don't know, man, like we saw flashes of it. And like, if you're going to be that boisterous and have that level of irrational confidence, I have to believe there's a good football player in there. I like irrational confidence, guys. It might be too irrational. But like, if he's your number 2 and he's not expected to be the guy, improved quarterback play would be number 1, time on task in the system, not having to be the primary like wide receiver. He could operate out of the slot a lot more. And all of a sudden McCulley with Samaj operating in the slot, I kind of like that a little bit more. Also, like I might need someone to take some end arounds because I don't have a running back. So I got backwards James for some running back.
Okay.
There, some end arounds.
He is one of the players I'm worried about transferring after the spring.
Oh man, of course that's what happens to me every year. Is I get a guy like around this range. Last year was Amir Herring, and it just torpedoes my team. Not James backwards. Not again.
Not James backwards. Okay, so Maj Morgan goes off the board. I'm going to take Jimmy Rolder here for my other linebacker.
That was literally the player I was going to take. I was debating between the two, but I'm trying to offset the scales because of the running back thing.
Similar to Cam Brandt, Esposito saying he is just like a starter. Jimmy Rolder, Brian G. Mary said today he is 100% locked in that third guy, going to be rotating in a lot this season. He's an Illinois alpha male. Very excited. Very excited about his potential and what he's going to bring to the team this season. And last year, we finally got a glimpse of him reaching his potential now that he can stay healthy.
He's an Illinois alpha male and an anarchist. All right. I am going to go ahead and take then. For the record, I don't know when it happened. It happened a couple picks ago, but there's a teardrop has occurred. Maybe 2. I think sometime after. Yeah, Jimmy's right around the time of the teardrop. I think we just about hit the teardrop. Do you agree?
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, took Samaj Morgan last. Like, yeah, we're there now.
yeah. If Samaj is coming off the board, the tears have dropped. And I like Jimmy Roller though. Like, I think he has actual potential to be something there. All right. I don't want to do what you're forcing me to do. I want to do what I want to do. I'm going to take Shamari Earls, and I am going to probably have to play him at nickel with what I've currently got going on. We'll get a little weird with it.
He's been repping there.
Okay. I mean, I think they're repping a lot of guys there from what I read, but that's totally fine. This guy will hit. It question of this year, next year, the year after that, Shamari Earls is coming, and I want him on my team. So give me a little injection of youth in there. I think he burns his red shirt.
Oh, I like this. There was a guy would have gone over him at this position, but I like that you're getting your guy. This is again a guy.
This is a clear case of my guy.
This is a clear
my
case
guy
of
syndrome. Yeah,
your guy that you've had bookmarked ever since he committed. Man, I love this. I mean, they've been raving about him in camp, so I think this is a tremendous pickup by you. I have to have a pass catcher on this team, not named Max Bredesen or a running back. So give me Frederick Moore. Right now, he is up 16 pounds to 191. And there are really good reports coming out of camp. I think playing at that size is going to help him a lot, add some more muscle to him. He had a great showing in the ReliaQuest Bowl, and now I'd like to see him take that next step with a good quarterback.
Yeah. That's the next guy. Look, I actually had Freddie Moore ahead of Samaj Morgan, but I talked myself into Samaj Morgan. It's the swing for me. I'm taking the swing,
Okay.
and look, that's the way we roll, baby. That's the way we do things here. I like Freddie Moore a lot. I think Freddie Moore could be like a really, really good complementary type receiver, more in a Ronnie Bell than in a Nico Collins type of role, but like security blanket type guy. I'm here for this.
Yep. This is 100% why I like. I mean, I guess the highest ceiling I could hope for would be the Roman Wilson.
Yeah. All right. Here's an interesting conversation. So you got Benny, and then there was like a bit of a lull on the defensive tackle front. I'm going to take Trey Williams next, the transfer. 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries in 2024. Experienced player. I don't think he'll be as impactful as Benny, but I think this is the next guy up rotationally. I think he'll probably be ahead of a couple other guys that I'm sure will get drafted here. I'll be interested to hear like what you've heard and which way you're leaning, but I've got Williams slightly ahead.
I think Williams could be a starter next to Benny because of the complementary aspect. Williams is going to stop the run. This is a large man. And you talk about forming a run wall. It's that kind of guy in the middle. It's the Kenneth Grant anchor, while Rayshon Benny is going to be more of the Mason Graham. Like they're both going to do the same things, but you need a guy to form the run wall. That's the basis of this entire defense. And that's where it starts. And yeah, man, I think it's going to be a starter. I think another guy could outproduce him, but like you have to watch the games to understand the value of people that can just absorb blocks, kind of like Mozzie Smith senior year. Like in 2022, how much damage he did inside, whether or not it showed up on the stat sheet or not.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely there. And yeah, all right, to you, man.
All right, coming back to me, I'm going to add a player. I'm looking at my board. Got edge, defensive line. I'm going to go to the other. I'm going to go to center, actually, and I'm going to add Nathan Afobe.
Good one. Good pick. Nathan, I mean, that's the only other guy. It's the only other name.
Nathan Afobe was the one they had to talk out of the transfer portal. That was the guy. And he's the one that like he might be pushing Gio for that starting position. There was a report that came out last week by Lorenz of 247 Michigan that said if it started right now, he'd be a starter. Didn't say the position, but he said he'd be starting.
It's April.
Yeah, it is April. But again, that's not a bad place to be. It's better than saying he's not going to play.
I agree. I like Afobe for what it's worth. I had him pretty high on my list. And yeah, this is about the right spot. And he's also the only other guy that can play center. So good to get him before I grab him at my other guard. And then you're like, who's playing center?
Exactly. I didn't want to be up a creek without a paddle on that one.
Yeah, good call. All right. Like what you did there. Where do I need to go to? Could go back to the offensive line. I'm going to go, rather than need, I'm going to go higher on my board. And you've got a really good run blocking tight end. I'm going to get a second tight end. I'm going to get Marlon Klein, who's a really good run blocker. And I think as far as like what I know this guy can do, are we doing 2 tight ends?
Yep. You're good.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Yeah, give me Marlon Klein. I've got him pretty high on my board. I like Klein. This German's actually going to produce for us. We've had some Germans let us down. We've had some Frenchmen let us down. I'm sticking with my guy here. What are your thoughts on Marlon Klein?
I'm a little down. I think this is the right spot for him to go. Let me lead with that. But like after last year, he was one of the talks of the spring game, and I just felt like a bad taste in my mouth afterwards when it never manifested during the season. Like it's like, man, it's a good blocking rep. Where's the receiving?
There is no receiving. Yeah, but you got the Bredesen as a blocker. Like this guy can block though.
He can. And like, you hear all the stuff about being an athlete. He's the backup punter right now, by the way. I'm not kidding. Like he really is. So, hell of an athlete. I want to see him get to that potential first. Like it's the right spot for him to go. I probably would have been leaning that way later on, but like a guy with all the talent in the world, but it's very similar to like our previous German, the edge rusher, Julius Welschoff's. Like, can you just put it all together?
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, to you.
All right, I'm going back to the secondary. There's a few players here I like. Going to see what
still players we like. This is a deep group.
This is a very deep group. I'm going with a guy that's like, it's been a little quieter for him, but like he started all last year in the SEC. Give me TJ Metcalf, my other safety.
Interesting player.
Yeah. Like on film, it looks very much like Wesley Walker. And if he can come in a little more polished than that, or at the peak of what Wesley Walker became, that's a hell of a player back there. And he's going to be a rotational player from the jump.
Yeah, I could see him being ahead of Earls just because of all the reps in the SEC. But there is also, like, when you watch his highlight film, you're like, oh my goodness. But then you watch him on like a game-to-game basis, which I can't pretend to watch all of it. He'll disappear on you. Yeah. So we'll see what he actually ends up. I mean, if nothing else, really good depth just adds to this room that you and I apparently are very high on with the secondary. Because, like, you can order this any way you want. I've just liked a lot of the guys that we've said, even this deep into the conversation. I'm still like, yeah, that guy's a contributor, like potential star upside for some of these guys. So fascinating discussion there. I'm going to go back on the offensive line. I am going to take the Mad Hatter, Lawrence Hatter from Ferris State, not on campus yet. He was a Division II All-American. I'm betting on the pedigree. I think he's going to come in, and I think he's going to get one of the starting jobs, especially if he's pushing Geo. Like, if that's actually the case,
Afobe's pushing Geo.
Afobe's pushing Geo. All right. Well, then,
so who's your starting five?
My starting five. I don't think I have another tackle yet.
No. Actual team starting five.
Oh, my actual team starting five. If I had to pick it today, Link Sprague at the tackles, Crippen at center. I would go Geo at guard, and then Hatter at the other guard.
Okay, no Afobe, no Norton. Okay.
I mean, those are the names that you were hearing. I'm just like, yeah, that's what I had as of right now. I didn't hear the report about Blake Frazier being John Runyon. Like, that sounds
Brady
like a guy
Norton
that could
Brady Norton being John Runyon.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Excuse me. Brady Norton being John Runyon. If that's the case, that's a guy that could definitely unseat someone. And it sounds like there's some jobs up for grabs.
Yeah.
But
I like that it's so competitive. Like you named the three starters, which I think are pretty locked in, unless Afobe pulls the ultimate, like just steal from Greg Crippen at center. But the tackles are locked in. The interior battle is fascinating this season.
Yeah, I mean, we're in better shape than last year, though, with this offensive line. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. There's like places to turn. Last year, there wasn't any place to turn, and that's why center is really the only one that frightens me, because there isn't that place to pivot. Hopefully, Afobe can do it serviceably, because if Crippen misses a game, like, it could be really bad. So that's the only place where I'm like, there's no answers. And then the answers at tackle are all very young.
Yeah, you're going to have that tattooed on you before it's all said and done of add a center via the portal.
I've said it several times. I don't know if it's happening. Probably happened by the time this podcast comes out, be outdated.
I know. I'm with you though, man. It's very similar to the quarterback position where it's like, I just want another body in there. Just give me another body in there and I'm going to feel a lot better about it. Okay. Coming back to me, we are getting down to the nitty gritty here. And it's not time to take a swing quite yet there, but I mean, I'm fascinated by the wide receivers. Like this room, like you could tell me three other guys here are going to be the guy and to emerge. And it's kind of like they're getting mixed together. So no one is separating in that regard. So I think I'm going to go with at least somebody I know and I have seen do it for Michigan. And although I don't have to quite do it right now, I am going to take Trey Pierce at defensive tackle.
First guy off the bus. It's a mean looking dude.
It's a mean guy. And he looked awesome in that Alabama game working against the first round draft pick.
I had him, for what it's worth, just below Trey Williams. I had him really close.
I did too. It's contributed. That's crazy. We did, man. I had Payne fourth. Pretty solid. Like,
that's how I have it as well.
Then I had those two in the middle battling it out.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man. That's a really good pick. I think all these guys are going to rotate. They're going to keep guys fresh, and that's going to be the strength of this defense. Is once again this defensive line with like a sneaky, like, watch the hell out for this secondary to potentially be really good. And the secondary is going to benefit from a healthy defensive line and TJ Guy and Derek Moore being above average pass rushers. Yep. I think there's a chance for this defense to be really freaking good, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about the potential, man. Like as we went through it, it kind of felt like the inverse of the NFL draft last year, where all the offensive players went like 1 to 14, and then the defensive players got in. Like there was a chance, like without Underwood at the top, like there was going to be just a run of defensive players.
Yeah, man. Well, I'd like to do. Know what I'd like to do? I have this player higher. But I'd be playing him out of position. It's a little too early to do something that wild and put someone out of position. So let's see, like, what what's a need that needs filled? And that's a giant reach. We're definitely in a weird territory now. Like a lot of the Trey Pierce is one of your last, like, I know that what this guy is.
Yeah, you're getting to a lot of projection now.
We're in projection territory now with this roster for sure, which I'm happy to do. I love speculating wildly. I've already got Shamari Earls. I've already done some speculation. Oh man. Don't need to do that. There's really no, and there's also like a lot of things are decided on both of our rosters. There's no more like sneaking in and sniping somebody.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just going to take one of my guys early, very early. Didn't know it would come to this, but give me Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, linebacker.
Whoa, I like that. Getting spicy.
Yeah. I need another linebacker. It's probably not going to happen this year. Like, I'm going to just admit that there's guys ahead of him. Actually, you know what? No. Can I take Bowles instead? Because we're doing it for this year. Boateng's my guy, but I'll take Bowles. I got Bowles ahead of him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take Bowles. I got Bowles 8 spots ahead of him.
I was gonna say, dude, I was like, I know you.
It's hard to see in these glasses, but I also don't want you to read my eyes.
I was like, I know you love him, man, but like, he's 205 pounds.
It's not happening this year. I know. I just like having these guys down the road because you and I are going to keep doing this till 2031. So I want to be able to look back and, like, as society is crumbling and collapsing around us, be like, I had Owusu-Boateng, called it early, but I have Bowles 10 spots higher. I honestly just didn't see him because taking a couple people like in that Bowles range already. He's the last like one of that Trey Pierce, Payne, those guys where it's like, all right, this guy will contribute. I'm not sure to what level. I think he sees the field this season though, more so than Owusu-Boateng.
Oh, yeah, 100% more than Boateng. Bowles is a little banged up right now, and that room is pretty deep. You could see Jaden Hood transfer out. That's another likely candidate, with Rolder being 3, and then you have Cole Sullivan also in the mix at that position. So there's a lot of bodies there. So there could be some transfer pushing in and out, which could open up the door for Bowles once he's healthy.
Yeah, I had Cole Sullivan right up there too, but I didn't know he was repping at linebacker.
That's where he played last year.
Did he? I thought he was coming off the edge.
No, he's a linebacker, dude.
Fascinating. Interesting player, Cole Sullivan. I'm sure we'll talk about him here at some point.
He burned his red shirt last year for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big like the genetics theory. Troy Bowles, son of head coach.
Yep.
You know, I'm gonna buy into the lineage, so we're going with it.
I think that's a wise decision, especially that coming out of Georgia. Don't know too much else about him, but I mean, you like the pedigree there.
Highly recruited, 4-star.
Yeah, you like that. Okay, coming back to me, I'm going to solidify my other guard. I'm going to play Blake Frazier at guard. It's probably where his career is going to shape out anyway.
Seems like it. Was he 6'5", 6'6"?
I think he's something around.
Might be
6'4".
Yeah, might be 6'4", actually. Yeah,
he's a little bit shorter, so I think that's where he's going to ultimately end up. I mean, last year in the spring game, he looked like a stud. This is a large projection for what he could become. He's also a likely transfer out candidate in the next like 1 to 2 years, depending on how the Ty Haywood situation and Andrew Babalola situation shakes out.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. This like having to take that into account nowadays, because our first couple of drafts, like none of these guys really transferred out. Maybe a guy here or there, your Miles Spider Sims, but now it's like this might happen by the time this podcast goes up.
Oh yeah, dude, we had to worry about like in 2018. We didn't have to worry about it, but that didn't stop me from drafting Oliver Martin and you from getting Kareem Walker.
Heyo, remember those guys? Oliver Martin, guys played on like a third of the Big Ten teams.
Yeah, and that was like before the portal, so it's honestly impressive.
Yeah, I'm not even mad. Where's he now?
I don't know. I think Toyota.
I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. We have to get back to you. All right. What was your last pick there? Let me make a note of this real quick.
I went to Blake Frazier at guard.
All right, and then my last pick was Bowles on the linebacker core. Let's go ahead and grab. Where do we need to go here? I'll grab Ty Haywood.
Okay.
Probably my other tackle. Just go ahead and round that out. I don't have much to say here. We're in projection territory now.
Yeah. So you're betting on the fact that he's a 5-star tackle coming in. Won't be on the team till the fall, but very similar to like Blake Frazier, although he was on the team last year. We're just looking ahead, and if there's a chance and things break and there's always injuries on the offensive line, these feel like the first guys up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's recap real quick, and then we'll take one more break, come back and finish this up. What's your offensive line? Have you finished your offensive line?
Yep. Offensive line is Evan Link, Brady Norton, Nathan Afobe, Blake Frazier, Andrew Babalola.
Yeah, a lot of talent on there. We'll see which guys play of that group. Of that group, which do you feel the most confident playing this season? Link, I'm guessing.
Link is. I feel very confident in Link and Brady Norton starting this season.
Okay. Yeah, the Norton one, I don't think I read that report. That's awesome, though. Like, if we need another guy to come up at guard, and it sucks that, like, it's at the expense of El Hadi maybe happening, but we need another guy there. So I like that. Strong stuff by you. I've got Crippen. I've got Sprague. I've got El Hadi. I've got Ty Haywood and Lawrence Hattar.
Do you know how to pronounce his last name yet?
I'm calling it Hatter because then we can call him the Mad Hatter.
Well, you just called him Hattar, so you can't say you call him Hatter.
Well, I'm changing it now. It's Hatter now.
Fantastic. It is better. It's so much better for a nickname, too.
Yeah, the Mad Hatter. Like, hopefully he's a guy that plays, like, through the whistle, too, because then, like, you'd really earn that.
Yeah.
Like, if it's, like, 6 seconds after the whistle and this guy's still just pounding a dude into the earth, I'd be like, yes, this is our guy.
Plays like Eric Magnuson. It's going to be a big letdown.
Eric Magnuson. Strong name. Not as strong a follow through.
Not as strong as a player.
No. Eric Magnuson. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will wrap this up. Be back right after this. All right, we are back. We remain righteous men. Spring game draft in full effect. We have dropped several tiers. We're now we're several tiers down. We're only the lunatics, the fringe, absolute psychopaths of Michigan Wolverines faithful know these players and who we're talking about. But this is what we're here for. This is where games are decided, baby. Late rounds.
Oh, man. I'm excited for these guys because, like, there are people, who don't really discuss that much. Like, we had the Underwood talk at the top. That's, going to be the headline here. But these are the guys that could swing a season.
Absolutely, man. All right. It is to you, my friend. And your last pick was Blake Frazier.
Brought him in on the offensive line to round out that group. I'm going with a guy, actually, one of the last few I think has a chance to start this year. It's not the sexiest pick, but it's probably just a name theory, and that's Caleb Anderson at corner.
Yeah, bad name theory for sure. I know a Caleb Anderson, very dull human being.
But this is a 6'2", 6'3" boundary corner entering, I believe, his 5th year, played with Lamar Morgan at Louisiana at a high level, coming into Michigan for his final season. Michigan's had great success with players like this moving up, a la Amir Hall or Josh Wallace the year before. Having the relationship with the position coach is a nice way to keep moving. And Morgan's already said he's on a similar trajectory to those guys. So I like that. Has a chance to start, but more than likely going to be at least a rotational player.
Yeah, I struggled with this guy. I think as well. I mean, played at Louisiana, played a lot of snaps, and having that relationship there. I think you're right. There's just some guys that are going to be pushing him. As we've said multiple times in this podcast, secondary is just fascinating. There are so many names, and like Caleb Anderson's probably starting for a lot of teams, and like don't know if he's going to even get on the field for us. Probably gets on the field, but maybe in mop-up duty. Maybe he's like the 3rd or 4th guy. But yeah, this is solid. I like it.
I think he has a chance to start still.
Wow. I did not have him quite that high.
Well, it really depends on what you do with Rod Moore. If you don't put him at nickel and you put him at safety, and then
I think there's going to be a lot, like starter could be a blurred term, could be interesting this year. I think there's going to be a lot of like figuring things out in the first couple weeks. Like this could bleed over. But yeah, fascinating. He'll see the field for sure. Okay, back to me. Where do I want to go? I think I'm going to go ahead and take Josiah Edmond in the secondary. I haven't heard anything about this guy, and it makes me nervous because these are the kind of guys that like expect to play and could be dangerous transfer like decision guys if they don't. So getting a little nervous here, but Josiah Edmond, highly recruited, big, fast, physical, just needs to put it together. This is literally the guy that I'm most terrified about on my roster about transferring.
There's a likelihood. I mean, but he was flashing last year. Like he got some reps.
We've seen some stuff. Yeah.
He's got some reps at corner, but like you worry about all the recruits and all the talent that's come in. Like he's just in that spot where it's like, oh man. Then first they add the transfer with Caleb Anderson and then sign the big class. And we haven't talked about Jaden Sanders. Like he's another guy that's going to be up here pushing him as well. So it's like, it could just be one of those situations very similar to Jaden McBurrows.
It very well could. And yeah, this could age horribly, but betting on the talent here, and it flashed a little bit when he got a chance to get on the field. So now would be the time, spring, to really lock in and see like if you can actually make a push to play for this Wolverines team.
Back to me, there hasn't been a lot of talk about this player in the spring, but he threw a pass at one of the most critical junctures of the entire season last year. And I'm betting on the lineage. I'm betting on the pedigree. I'm taking Kendrick Bell at receiver.
Love it. Yep, love it. I've got him pretty high up there as well. You can bet he'll throw another pass. Like, what are the FanDuel odds on that?
Like it's like the new Dono.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're just waiting for the day. Yeah, Kendrick Bell's throwing a pass this season. And, like, I'm less concerned about him transferring because of the lineage stuff,
I mean, at this point, like all these guys could be a threat to do so. But I like the fact that he has switched positions and gotten better every year, where I think he outsnapped Samaj Morgan last year.
Yeah. And like, this isn't a position where I worry as much. Like, we all know how I feel about Andrew Marsh if you listen to this podcast, but I don't think there's much danger of Kendrick Bell getting usurped by either of those guys. He's got such a head start on them at this point. So this is a good pick. I like it. Okay. Let me pull this up here. I may have missed it if this player's still on the board. No, I don't need to do that. Got that filled out there. Boy, what do I need? I'll just go ahead and grab Benjamin Hall.
Right pick.
Got to happen at some point. I'm going to need another one. I'm going to grab the third and fourth running backs that you got 1 and 2. Brutal.
He is slimmed down, man. He's slimmed down. He is, I believe, 220 right now. He spoke to the media this past week, and I think he said he's playing a lot lighter, a lot faster, feeling better out there. I think last year he was playing close to 240, like just really heavy, like trying to be the bruiser. Yeah, and then like again, if he can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing. He was the star of the spring game 2 years ago, and you're just hoping like now is his chance to like take that step.
Yeah, man. I really hope so as well. So. All right, back to you, my friend.
I'm taking Dom Nichols at edge.
It's a good pick.
One of the talks of the town. I mean, he is Cam Brandt's rushing partner in that as the second pass rushers on the field. High potential, weighing over 260. He has great frame. Played a lot of snaps last year, surprisingly, despite being with a lot of edge rushers on the team. So I think he's going to take a step forward this year, and he and Brandt are going to form a really formidable second unit.
Yeah, this guy should have gone higher if you're just talking like where he's at on my board. It's just the way that the board fell. We've already filled some things out. This guy starts for most other Big Ten teams, honestly. Like this guy starts for Minnesota. Like even teams like that, I really think. So that's a really good pick. I like it. All right, what else do I need to fill out here? We are getting to the bottom of the barrel, my friend. Only a couple more picks left.
You need defensive line, wide receiver, safety, and running back.
Yep, need another safety. I'll go ahead and take Jacob Odom at safety. Excuse me. Took him last year, way too early. I was looking at my draft board from last year. I was like, Jacob Odom. Really thought that guy was going to get on the field. I don't know that he'll get on the field this year. Like, there's just too many guys in front of him. But I like the guys that were the leaders of their class. I like them to not transfer, and I like them to eventually get on the field. And he was that guy. Like, he's very vocal. He has all the characteristics, all the leadership characteristics that you want to eventually become the next Rod Moore. We just haven't seen it. So I'm going to bet on the off the field stuff translating.
Yeah, tremendous kid. You've been saying that ever since he committed, like leader of the class. He's the guy that was gathering everybody, leading the vocal charge online. So I really like that. Coming back to me, I just went edge. I need to fill out. This is gonna be one of my last two of my last three picks are gonna be swing guys. Like I'm really just like betting on upside, going for the reach here instead of just the chalk pick. I'm taking Channing Goodwin at wide receiver.
Ooh, not on my board.
Lot of buzz right now for this kid. Lot of buzz for this kid. I mean, there are people think he's been one of the like most popular picks to be a breakout receiver. I mean, it helps because the room is what it is. It brings a lot of athleticism. I mean, I believe he played with Jaden Davis in high school, so that connection
Like
there.
that.
But like he has just been rising ever since then. Like, because last year Marion Stewart was the receiver that was the one that was kind of taken over, and now it seems like he has retaken that position from the two freshmen last year. So I like Channing Goodwin here.
Yeah, and we saw what Amarion Walker became. So this is
Amarian Stewart from his class, not Amarian Walker.
I think you said Walker, or maybe I misheard.
No, Amarian Stewart.
Oh, got you. It's weird we had two Amarians.
I know, one spelled with an A and one with an I.
I apostrophe.
Better than James spelled backwards.
So mad. That guy's definitely transferring and torpedoing my team. It's for sure going to happen. Now I'm not even going to like people named James because of this. Or retroactively hate that, which is James. Strong name.
Yeah.
James backwards? Less so.
We find other names spelled backwards. Like, I don't know. Tyler, what is that? Relight? There we go. Rolls off the tongue.
Give me Damon Payne. Round out the rest of my defensive line there. Deep group. Damon Payne's going to play this year. Like, so this is like pretty low in the draft for a guy that's actually going to get snaps.
Yeah, it was very, very similar to like Caleb Anderson. I believe there was one coach last week was talking about how this defensive tackle group doesn't have the ceiling as last year's, but it has a higher floor because the rotation is going to be deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 100% how I see it. And we've kind of alluded to that before. Like, you're going to be able to keep guys fresh. And even if you lose a guy for a couple weeks, it's not going to torpedo the team. Is the ceiling as high? It is a high ceiling. I think people might be underselling Benny, Moore, and Guy in particular as far as like ceilings. Barham, add him to that as far as like untapped potential high ceiling. Yeah, there is still a high ceiling, but the floor is higher too.
Yeah. Now I think it's a room that it's getting the discussion it deserves, but I really think I like this room a lot because we didn't even talk about Ito Etta or Ike Awana, who played great last season.
Yeah. Eno Etta, like kind of fighting his way out of Luigi Villain territory, crawling his way out of the sand pit.
Crawling his way to the transfer portal.
Did he transfer already? We need like updates live as we're doing.
No, he didn't, but it feels like he's a likely candidate, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, Josiah Edmond, Eno Etta, these guys are eyeing it for sure. Yeah, but hopefully not. I mean, Etta, it's going to be hard for him. Like, that is a lot of experience ahead of him that he's got to get past.
Yeah, it feels like it's starting to come to a log jam here. Okay, coming back to my board. I have two positions left, and I'm torn over both of them because that's what you do with picks 23 and 24, building a team for fictional spring draft.
The stuff that keeps us up at night because we're psychos.
Exactly. Oh man. So there's the tight ends I'm deciding between. The one that's been getting a ton of buzz, this plays in the name theory, is Jalen Hoffman.
Yeah,
Jalen Hoffman has been getting a lot of hype around him for what he's been doing, but I think he's kind of playing that same H-back role that Bredesen has been, so it kind of feel like a redundant pick here. But he was on the field more than you'd think last year. Like, he was on the field for some big-time plays. Like a touchdown against USC, he was on the field early on in that game. Like a big-time type of guy, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him play a more prominent role. Several reports about him being one of the most talked about offensive players, which was drastically surprising and a little concerning. Could go Zach Marshall here, but I'm going to go with the receiving type with the highest upside. I'm going to go with Brady Prescorn.
There he is. One of my guys. I really hope he can come back, man.
I know. I do as well. The injury against Ohio State, it leaves me a little concerned here. And with Hoffman, it's like I haven't really seen him as that dynamic guy yet. And if I'm going to take a reach on somebody, I know it's coming from high school tape, but Prescorn has it all there. He has it all there. He looks like very much in the Colston Loveland mold, a fluent route runner, good soft hands, big body, wide catch radius. And if he can come back healthy, he's going to find him a spot right next to Hogan Hansen, very much in the Luke Schoonmaker, Eric All mold.
Yeah, I had him slightly ahead of Hansen when they came in together. I was like, "Ooh, I like what this pre-scoring could be," but take that with a grain of salt. Then Hansen clearly jumped him, but the talent remained. And
Yeah.
I like taking the swing here for the guy that could be like, look, let's be honest here. Like, there's a reason Colston Loveland isn't coming back and is projected to go like 14th in the NFL draft. It's because he can catch the freaking ball.
Exactly.
It's more important. It is going to impact the team more. Not that you and I don't appreciate a good crackback block from a tight end. But yeah, this is a good pick.
It's the reason CJ Charleston isn't getting drafted. He's an outstanding blocking wide receiver. But if the first thing you say about a wide receiver is his blocking, that tells you everything you need to know about him.
It is, man. Okay, back to me then. So I filled out my safety with Odin, filled out the defensive line. Give me Micah Kapana, please, at my other running back position. A guy that probably is at worst a number 2 at like Northwestern. I kind of like Micah Kapana. You and I've always kind of liked Micah Kapana. Yeah, like, so I'm not too mad to be getting him here. Yeah, with one of my final picks. Or is that my final pick? Where are we at here?
Nope, you still have a receiver.
Oh, and one more receiver. Come on now. It has to be. I have to do it. Give me Andy Marsh.
Well, not yet, dude. You don't get to double up picks.
Well, he'll be my bad. For some reason, I thought you gave your final one. I'm so sorry. For some reason, I thought you said with my final 2 and then rattled off your 2. I'm sorry. Get excited.
This guy, I know who you're taking. I was never going to do that one to you anyway. About Kapana, though, man, I think he could be the one to watch in the return game. We've been hyping on this for a long time. I think he is lightning fast. They designed packages for him late last season. Really, once Steve Casula kind of took over the play calling duties against Northwestern, he was one of the guys that wanted to incorporate more, get the ball in his hands. So I think that's somebody to keep an eye on in punt, possibly kick return as well, because he is electric, and this team needs that kind of speed. So great pick. I had the running backs in the exact same order that they went in this draft.
Yep. I don't know that there's too much question about that. We're clearly a lot of other disagreements and things we had differently, which we'll wrap up here after we make our final 2 picks.
Yeah. So my last one is at quarterback. I'm completely torn here. Like, is it Jaden Davis for the spring?
I've heard good things about Davis.
I know. I have too. And it's like, or do you go with Mikey Keene for the veteran experience, the familiarity with the system? He's been coached by Chip Lindsey before. He's played at a high level. He's more than likely going to be at least the 2. You know what I mean? So it's like,
at worst. Yeah. Think, but Davis like has a much higher ceiling.
Who's more likely to transfer though?
Davis.
Yeah. And I think that's
what's saying that last year.
Yeah. And that's what's going to swing my decision here. I'm going to take Mikey Keene at quarterback.
I think you have to for the sake of the spring game draft, because like we will judge this based on like this year's results, because it's stupid to look back 4 years from now and be like, look who actually ended up winning because you had a freshman Blake Corum or something on it.
Yeah, it's this year. You're looking at this year. And the same thing with like Underwood. Like if Underwood doesn't start this year but wins the Heisman in 2 years, keep it, hey, Heisman winner, leading my team. So,
got him.
So yeah, it's for this season. We've done that before. It is cool to like get the hindsight, because you got to see guys like you're believing in early. You know, you had your feet on the ground, and you can also see your misses. Kareem Walker, Oliver Martin, and it's just cool to go back and see. It's always a good snapshot. But I digress. Your final pick, sir. Your boy, cook on him.
Andy Marsh, I'm taking him. That is the 3 years down the road I wanted to say I had him pick. That is that. Although I really like Browder too, and I've heard some stuff. Like I have him neck and neck. He's big, and I generally like a bigger guy like that. But I do think Marsh has that like Justin Jefferson light type potential, where it's like Mario Manningham's the comp that I've stuck with, so I'm going to use that moving forward. But that's like a number 1 receiver. So I don't think it's this year. I think there's just too many guys ahead of him, but I want him on my team. And like, maybe if it's a blowout, you get that guy in there and start building some Underwood reps, for the future. Cause I think that's what they're building on, is like this Underwood, Marsh, Browder. Like that's the future of the passing game at Michigan.
The only other guy I considered here was Anthony Simpson, the UMass transfer.
Yep,
but I believe, I believe it's going to be more of like an Eddie McDoom, AJ Henning type of role, though. That's going to be the end around guy. Get the ball in his hands, let him be explosive with it. Well, I think Marsh is one of those guys. Let's get him on the field. Let's get some touches, kind of like a Donovan Peoples-Jones. Like it might be too early, but that investment's going to pay off next year.
Yep. Yeah, I think so as well. And maybe that's one where it's like, look, he didn't contribute that year, but I'm still going to feel good about it because I think that guy's going to hit. So going with my gut, which was the theme of my draft. So, sir, let us kind of recap this. How do you want to recap? You want to go position group by position group, or do you want to go draft order?
Let's do position group by position group so the
Okay.
listeners can have a better comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's start up at the top where with the number 2 overall pick, I took Bryce Underwood, threw things into a little bit of chaos early, but it sounds like that was happening regardless. Like you were thinking the same thing.
You got to take the swing up there because of the guy who doesn't have that pick is going to have the balance of the potential All-Americans on the other side of the ball, and that's exactly how it played out.
Yep, and Mikey Keene for you with your last pick, and I get it. Like it was a real question there at the end. We both mentioned we've heard good things about Jaden Davis. Jaden Davis could probably go like start. Like, is Jaden Davis gonna have like a Dante Moore type of like? Could he be that good? And that guy's just our third quarterback. That would be wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I still
don't know
think
either.
I think he's out, and with more, he at least had that freshman year starting experience. We've never seen a real live snap from Jaden Davis.
No, I agree. But like, could he be that talented and like as good as Dante Moore as we've seen? And that guy's third on our depth chart. Like, it's a wild.
I think he'd transfer though, don't you?
I 100% do, but it's just crazy because this room last year was an abomination.
Yeah.
It was an absolute abomination.
Yeah.
And now we're like, if Jaden Davis becomes what we thought Jaden Davis could be, and that's number 3, like, has any position group taken a bigger overhaul, seen a bigger overhaul? It's not even close.
No, not with the leap that Jaden Davis appears to have taken. Like having that talent, just even the talent alone, just that, nothing else at third, it's a great sign of improvement.
Yep. And then you just went ahead and just washed me with the running backs and got both number 1 and number 2. I let you do it. I don't know that there's a huge gap between Haynes and Hall talent wise, but I think that'll be the way the carries distribute. So you got Marshall and Haynes. It's going to be tough for me to overcome. I need Underwood to win the job in order to basically win this spring game draft.
With those two there, I knew it was going to catch you off guard because like nobody had doubled up position, been going a little chalk. I was like, oh, I could.
It was coming next, though. I was like, I'm getting him next, but yeah.
Again, the way this offense is going to work, the running backs are going to be heavily featured. I mean, just look at Amari and Hampton's numbers from the last 2 years, over 1,600 rushing yards each year. Last year, he had almost 400 receiving yards as well from the running back position, and they were down to the third string quarterback. So they're going to use these running backs a lot in the passing game, and having both of them, I felt like I could at least get an advantage there from what I was going to give back in pass catchers.
Potentially. Yep. Like it started with quarterback, and then you went Marshall pretty early on. I did take the first pass catcher when I took Hogan Hansen, and then also took the first receiver with McCulley. So at tight end for me, it is Hogan Hansen. And it is, who did I get as my number 2? Marlon Klein, the German. So, yep. So that's my 1 and 2. Feel good. Those guys are going to be major contributors for the Wolverines this year. And I think you don't hate what you got at tight end.
No, I got Max Bredesen, which I know Max Bredesen is going to start. He's going to play a lot for this team and be an integral piece to what he's doing. And then for my second pick, I really considered Jalen Hoffman here just because of the spring buzz. But until I see it, it's really hard for me to just go out that far on a limb. So I'm going to go with the guy, I'm going to go on the limb with the talent that I know he has, and that's Brady Prescorn.
Yep. And then going with the pass catchers, I took McCulley pretty early on there. I think that's very clearly we both had as the number 1 pass catcher. Hearing some really good things. I don't know how big the drop is. Wide receiver room is another one that's undergone a major overhaul here. So we were kind of grasping at straws with a lot of this. With the pass catchers, I also took James Backwards, Samaj Morgan, a little earlier than I was planning to take him because it's either a transfer or this guy has a great redemption story this year. You're leaning towards sell. I bought, and time will tell. And then my third receiver, Andy Marsh, with my last pick. Talk us through your pass catchers, sir.
My 3: Frederick Moore, Kendrick Bell, and to everyone's surprise, no Peyton O'Leary here. Channing Goodwin, one of the big spring risers this year. If you'd taken Freddie Moore in the Samaj Morgan spot, that would have screwed me.
I thought about it too. Like I really thought about it, and I hope I'm right on this one because I think Freddie Moore's like really solid, and we're hearing it in spring too. That's one that you're hearing good things about. So makes sense. Good that you grabbed him there, James Backwards. Don't don't torpedo my draft. Back to the offensive line, I grabbed the only true center on the team, Greg Crippen, with my 4th overall pick, and then went with Sprague, who will play one of my tackles, probably be left for me in this exercise. And I also have Gio Hadi to man one of my guard spots. I have the Mad Hatter, Lawrence Hatter, who will forever now be Hatter as he was once a Tar. And I got Ty Haywood at my other tackle spot. So I like having the only true starting center. I like that Gio Hadi. I know what he is. Even if he doesn't end up winning this job, he can go be a fine player at Northwestern. That's always the go-to.
Like, I love how that's the school that's been given.
It's the go-to. Just getting off. You can have him.
He can go to Northwestern to play well.
He'd help Northwestern. Looks like AJ Henning. He's a legend there.
He is a legend there. On my offensive line, left to right, went Evan Link, Brady Norton, Nathan Afobe, Blake Frazier at right guard, and Andrew Babalola at right tackle. Really like Link and Norton. I feel they're good there. The interior battles, like throughout the spring and the fall, are where we're going to determine the winner of the offensive line here.
Yeah, and yours will probably look good in 2 years too. You've got a lot of youth on there and like guys that we.
Well, so what you did, you have Sprague and Haywood.
That's true, but Sprague played the entire ReliaQuest Bowl, looked like the next guy. I mean, I loved what I saw in that ReliaQuest Bowl. I watched him very, very focused on him and Link in that game, and I liked what I saw from both of them. So I'm high on them both. I'm high on the tackles being better. I think offensive line room, maybe 3rd most improved. I don't know. I wish we would have taken a transfer center. There's
still time. I mean, the second window just opened. It's like we got time.
Let's get him. Let's get him in there. But yeah, I would say clearly quarterback, most improved room. Wide receiver?
Second.
Offensive line, just based on internal development, and then bringing in Norton and Hatter.
Bringing in 4 or 5 starters from the ReliaQuest Bowl, and then those guys, I think you're right. I'll carry the defensive discussion for us. Give you a break here.
Please.
On the defensive line, you got on the interior Trey Williams and Damon Payne. The Clemson and Alabama transfer is going to be heavily involved in this team, either 1st or 2nd string guys rotating in a bunch. On the edge, you have Derek Moore and Cam Brandt. One of our best discussions during this draft was Moore versus TJ Guy. So that's going to be a fun differentiator as this goes on. I got TJ Guy and Dom Nichols on the edge. Nichols, Brandt's edge rushing partner. And on the interior, I have Rayshon Benny, who I took with the number 1 overall pick, and Trey Pierce, the 2 who rushed together in the ReliaQuest Bowl last season.
Yeah, I like every name mentioned there. Group. So once again, deepest group goes to defensive line.
There's so much talent in that defensive line. Again, didn't discuss, Etta, didn't discuss Awana. There's just a lot of guys there. At linebacker, you took the first one off the board at Ernest Hausman, one of my highest rated players as well. I got his counterpart, Jayshawn Barham. I took Jimmy Rolder as my other linebacker. He is like the 3rd guy right now, going to be rotating in a bunch. And you took Troy Bowles, the Georgia transfer, and a favorite of the Sklar brothers.
Yeah. I'm high on him. Almost took Owusu Boateng there just for like the big swing, but there's no way that swing pays off this year. This year it's for sure Bowl.
I was like, are you giving me the draft? I know you love him.
I can see this screen very well, but the shades make seeing my big screen nearly impossible. It was all worth it though to do the Phil Hellmuth. You can't see my next move.
I like this.
Yeah, aesthetics matter. We're on video now. I have no choice.
I like the gamesmanship. Okay.
Gamesmanship.
Going to the secondary. Fascinating group here. Lot of talent in the room.
Discussion.
So at nickel, I have Rod Moore. You have Shamari Earls. At the corners, I have Zeke Berry and Caleb Anderson. You have Jair Hill and Josiah Edmond. At the safeties, I have TJ Metcalf and Mason Curtis. And you have Jacob Oden and Brandon Hillman.
Mine is the all swing team.
A lot of swing. I was surprised you didn't go Jaden Mangum over Oden.
Yeah, probably would have made sense there to get like a little bit more tried and true hand there. But I'm doubling down. I took Oden last year, and if it's going to happen, it's going to be this year. So I'm doubling down on Oden. Basically, is what I did there. I just believe in players like that. Yeah, having Moore and Berry is such a great start. If Edmonds transfers, I'm going to lose this secondary battle pretty clearly. And Edmonds is like a guy we already mentioned. We've got him pretty high in that watch out for this guy transferring kind of thing. And then, yeah, I like you getting Caleb Anderson. So I'll give you secondary for now. I mean, when you get Rod Moore, you're probably going to take the thing.
It's a good tiebreaker. Again, going against
start.
Shamari Earls, who was last playing against 15-year-olds.
15-year-olds. I've heard good things, though. They're like, he's a star. Yes. It's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not. Yeah, so I went a little bit on the all swing. I would have loved to have gotten Mason Curtis. I would have felt a lot better. That was the one that really hurt. I thought like you might have had him a little lower. I know we've talked about him and like we discussed maybe needing a position change. So I was like, does Andy have him a little lower? But no, he's a Swiss Army knife out there.
He was overall in my secondary. Let me see where I had him. I had him really high. Out of my safeties, he was second, but I had Rod Moore in that discussion. So like,
yeah, was he a top 25 player for you?
Yeah,
me too.
Right, like I took him
in my top 25. Yeah,
took him really high. That was a guy like I knew, like I liked Hillman too, but like I was like, man, Curtis being a year younger as well. It's like I really like that, like the frame. But you did it similar to me. Like I had to pivot in this draft pretty early on when you took Hogan Hansen. Like that's 100% where I was going, and I had to go. That's when I doubled up with the running backs because I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of punt on pass catchers for the time being, and I'm going to get two guys that are going to touch the ball a lot for this offense. That could be the most.
It happens every draft where like we get forced into a path that we didn't necessarily come into the draft with. And I had to go get McCulley then and take the swing with James backwards Morgan and like hope that Samaj stays and like has the redemption story. And then I'm hoping I have the number 1 and number 2. Yep. I think you more likely have the number 2 with Freddie Moore. I think you have it. Yeah.
It's like you could have the number 1 and 2 pass catcher on this team, and I could have the top 2 rushers.
I definitely think you have the top 2 rushers, barring injury, and we certainly don't want any of that. So, like, knock on wood. Yeah, but if they're healthy, it's Marshall and Haynes, I would have to imagine. And if someone overtakes Haynes, that's probably a good thing. That means like Hall or Capana is just too good to keep off the field. It's actually probably a win for us.
It's a great thing. And not a great thing for me in this draft, but for the team overall, it's a great thing. But I think this is a razor sharp draft. I think that offensive line battle is going to be fascinating because either I have 3 starters or you have 3 starters, because I know for sure you have Crippen and Sprague starting. And I know for sure, at least in my opinion, for sure, I have Evan Link and Brady Norton starting.
And yeah, the Norton one caught me off guard. I think you were on the pulse of that one a little before I was.
That was a moment when I heard Grant Newsome said that, I was like, good God, that is high praise from a guy who played with them. So to hear that and hear about his versatility, being able to play up and down the offensive line, makes me confident he's going to find his way on the field, at least in some capacity.
Yeah, and if not this year, next year. But once again, it's a this year type of thing. So before we kind of figure out how we'll do the voting and put all that out there, where did you struggle the most with your prep work here?
Wide receivers. I struggled a lot in the wide receivers just because there's so much unproven. Like I could say the secondary because there's a lot of good, but that's a good problem to have because you take Curtis, I take Hillman, vice versa. It's like you take this player, I take him. In the receivers, it got so down to the nitty gritty. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm comparing potential versus potential. I have no idea. Like Peyton O'Leary probably would have been the safe pick because he just seems like a Michigan guy that's going to play a lot of snaps this year, maybe have 10 catches, but a big one in a big game. And could that be the differentiator for a guy, or do we swing on somebody else? And I went with the swing this time.
It's 100% that. Like McCulley, I feel pretty confident about, but it's not as confident as like Hogan Hansen being the number 1 pass catching tight end. I feel more confident about that. Like if you told me Kendrick Bell was the leading receiver at the end of the year, I would be like, okay, that's not the wildest possible outcome that could come from this. So yeah, it was receiver for me. Offensive line, as we clearly differed on a couple things there, but I hadn't heard the Norton thing, so I'm like kicking myself for not getting in on that. And then quarterbacks became more of an interesting discussion as well, because it's like Underwood's the one playing, he's the one leading it now. When's Keene coming back? Do you want to and then Jaden Davis might be out playing Keene. So that was actually more of an interesting one. And then, you mentioned it, secondary, where I was super excited to have that discussion because there's just so many guys. And apparently we both had Hillman and Curtis pretty high. I was, interested to find that out. I also think Hill and Barry is really good potential to be a really good 1 and 2 cornerback. like almost David Long, Lavert Hill-esque, where it's just like there's not a great option to throw at here. These guys are tough, physical, there's athleticism, there's tons of athleticism in this secondary, depending on how you want to get with it. Like if it's Hillman and Rodmore and Mason Curtis out there, like size, athleticism, speed, instincts, experience, like it could be a really good secondary. So I was super excited for that conversation.
Yeah, and you're getting the brain back in the equation too in Rod Moore, and I think that's going to bring everybody up to another level.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so this is a fun team. This was one of the more interesting spring game drafts that we've had, I would say. Just like the prep work took me in all different directions. And, you know, the transfer portal does add kind of like a unfortunate element to this, in the sense that some of these guys that we put all this work into and attach some hopes to won't even be a part of this picture. The starting center could come next week to Michigan, like, and completely throw this thing into chaos. But that's just the nature of it. I still think it's a good exercise, and I still think I learned a lot about the strengths and weaknesses of this team doing it.
I think so too. We feel really good about the defense. There's some concerns still on the offense, how that philosophy is going to shake out, but this defense is going to be elite.
What I like about this team overall, big pictures, there's answers where there weren't last year. There's things that you can turn to. Like last year, that's just what we had was what we had. And it's like, well, who are you going to start? Like a true freshman that's 40 pounds underweight. There are options this year. There are guys that are going to push. There are transfer portal guys for depth. There's this team has answers. If it's not, you know, our first option isn't succeeding, we can pivot.
And honestly, it might be the first time, I'll have to check the numbers, TJ Guy selected in 4 straight drafts.
Do we rename this the annual TJ Guy spring game draft?
We might have to have some consideration. I mean, I think there's some Mikey Sainer still made 3, or no, he made 4, but 2 different positions. Actually, Mikey made 1, 2, 3. We drafted Mikey 5 years in a row.
5 years in a row, Mikey Sainer still. And I think we both had him. We've each
had
a run.
Passed him around back and forth. Same thing with TJ Guy. You had him the first 2. I've had him the last 2. So, yeah, man. But one of my favorite exercises and one of the best ways, I think, to talk about and evaluate the roster in totality and get that big picture.
It is. Yep, absolutely. So the spring game itself will happen this Saturday in Ann Arbor, the 19th. So that won't air until the following week, but we should be able to see it if you have access to Big Ten Network, right? We should be able to see it before the airing. No, nobody gets to see it.
No,
all right,
not until after the portal closes. So it'll be on Big Ten Network the following week.
Well, we will certainly keep you posted. We've got another podcast coming this week. Really excited for that. This will be on YouTube, so please go check it out there. We'll make sure to throw in something at the beginning as well. So if you'd rather watch this on YouTube, we're going to start driving people more towards there. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to Tony and Stuart helping us out on this one. Tony's first podcast, stuck it out for the full 90 plus. What are we at?
Tony and Stuart were the first overall picks tonight.
First overall picks. Yeah, we picked them pre-Rayshon Benny. So appreciate that. Appreciate all of you for listening. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate that. I am Jared. That is Andy. This is Out of the Blue. We'd like to remind you that wherever you go, go blue.